Nobody gets you ready for Utah football more than the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready.
Kyle Whittingham and the Utes hit the road for a battle against West Virginia. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Our show brought to you by G2G Bars. Give it a shot today. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods. I was at Costco this weekend, and this guy was, like, loading up on the G2G Bars. I said, hey, do you like those? You like those? Those are pretty good. Kind of like a little candid camera. Oh, really? You like those?
It's kind of like the Folgers taste test.
What if I told you that those were decaffeinated G2G bars? What'd you say? Good Farley. That's a great Farley skit. But he goes, he's like, oh, yeah. He goes, I load up our fridge in our basement with these. He's like, joke's on the kids. They eat these by the end of the month, and, like, they've been eating, like, some decent food.
It's better than eating a bunch of junk,
I
right?
know.
It's a decent meal replacement.
So there you go.
High protein.
Let's jump in though here with the cut. Let's get things going. We gotta get to talking about college football here because I still can't wrap my brain around what reality is, and it's all part of being a part of the new transfer portal era where our guessing on who's good in this country is very hard to do. Let's jump in right here with the cut. Top of the program right here.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show, the cut this hour, brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, your local trusted financial fiduciaries, 801-899-7600, or their website, Trajan Wealth, that's TRAJAN Wealth.com. There you go. Bill Bender joins us on the program. He's done it before. We talk college football with him. He writes about college football for the Sporting News. Bill, thanks for being with us again, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. How are you?
Oh, we're feeling pretty good, mostly because we can't wrap our brains around what on earth is going on in college football. Is the flux that we see almost entirely on the transfer portal world that we live in now? I was saying last hour, it feels like the entire country is what the Big 12 was last year. What's up is down. What's down is up. Is that about where we're at right now?
That's fair. I mean, I think there are very few. Well, if you want to start at the very top, I think Ohio State's legitimate. Yeah. I do. I think they're the most complete team. They showed that against Texas. They're going to be a tough out. We're going to find out who else. You know, that Oregon-Penn State game will be fun. Miami rising to number 2. I didn't anticipate that coming into the season. But, hey, look at their collection of wins, right? They beat 3 good opponents in 4 weeks. And, man, for those of us who grew up with unbelievable Florida State-Miami games, we're going to get one of those here in a few weeks.
It's exciting. Yeah, just the unpredictability each and every week of college football is fantastic. While you have those teams that are steady, we're sitting here watching Clemson implode, and you see what's happening at Oklahoma State with Mike Gundy, et cetera. There's some of these coaches that have been around a long time, or those are 2 examples that seem to have struggled to figure out what the modern college football works and how it will benefit their program. What's it like for you seeing those programs that have been so steady for so long kind of take a dip, and how do they bounce back from that, and can those coaches recover?
Gundy's an interesting one, right? Like, because 2 years ago they were the borderline class of the Big 12.
Yeah.
And here they are now, like, struggling didn't win a Big 12 game last year, and now what happened Friday night, getting booed. And, another one up here where I'm at in Big Ten country, it's kind of stunning to see what's going on in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's another one.
Wisconsin for most – not my entire – I know how bad they were in the 80s. I get that. But from Barry Alvarez on, steady, and it's just been really rough for them. But, I don't know if it's parity is the right word, but I think you said it, unpredictability. I mean, all you do is look at my picks against the spread, man. Every week I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? And you know what? I don't mind. It's a good thing. It's fun to watch unexpected results.
when you see a team like Utah who had a down year last year, but that wasn't the norm, and we're talking about teams that we grew up with, and I grew up in the state of Texas watching Texas Tech be, that second or third tier of college football. They would have these awesome offenses, but you just knew they could never have the type of dogs to get it done against big programs. To come in here to Salt Lake on Saturday, how surprised were you to see a 24-point win over a Kyle Whittingham team that looked like they had turned a little bit of a corner during the offseason?
Yeah, I thought Utah would turn the corner in that game, and it just never happened. Early in the game, you could see Texas Tech had it up front on the defense in the trenches. You get a backup quarterback come in, and that's when I actually thought, okay, Utah's going to do this. And I watched that whole game. I would not lie to you guys. I'd tell you if I was kind of flipping through games, but that was on the big TV.
Yeah,
and just kind of waiting for Utah to break through, and then you get a backup quarterback come in. He starts making great throws, but and then it poured on from there. But I was mostly impressed with Texas Tech up front. The front seven's really good. They made some plays and made Utah uncomfortable. I mean, you guys saw it. They made Utah uncomfortable, and I thought that's where the game would be won. And you mentioned, it kind of dawned on me as we were talking here. You talk about NIL. Well, Texas A&M and Texas Tech are all right there in the top 12.
Yeah, we were saying that Texas actually might be the worst of those three teams when it's all said and done. We don't know yet. I mean, it's hard to figure the rankings out. Obviously, you have to start off a season with some version of a ranking out there. What do you think, where are we at when you see teams that are moving up? What team right now do you feel like is faking it in that top 15 maybe? And what are some teams that aren't getting enough respect, even maybe toward the bottom of the top 25 or maybe not in?
Well, I probably owe Indiana an apology.
We do too. We already did.
We all do.
Did you guys apologize?
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Yeah, we probably should. Anytime you come up, not just Mendoza. I mean, they ran through Illinois, and I liked Illinois. I watched them against Duke and thought, hey, this is real. And Kurt Cignetti had other ideas. I kind of compared him when I wrote the other night. I said he's probably the most brash coach they've had in Bloomington since Bob Knight. And he makes no apologies for what they're doing there, and it's pretty special. As for a top 25 team I'm keeping my eye on, it comes this week. It's the next team to play Illinois. Stayed up late, watched USC the other night, and Jaden Maia was playing well. They have two good running backs. They're kind of like you wait. I thought, okay, they're going to blow Michigan State out, and then Michigan State crept back in a little bit. But I think the Trojans might have something. If they win Saturday against Illinois, they have a bye week, and then they have a 2-week stretch against Michigan and Notre Dame, and they'll get a ton of headlines at that point.
How would you handicap the Big 12 at this point? Kind of a hard thing to ask, but we did get to finally see Texas Tech go up against a ranked team in their building, so we have an idea about who they are. But just looking at the top 25, they've got 4 teams in right now, and still haven't got too deep into conference play. But what are your thoughts so far in the league?
Well, I think Utah's still a solid team, and they can get back in the mix there. I mean, it's one loss. Iowa State, same deal. And Iowa State coming off a bye week, kind of out of sight, out of mind. Now Texas Tech gets that win, and all of a sudden they're the new Big 12 leader, so to speak. BYU, interesting this week against Colorado. I haven't got to watch BYU as closely as I'd like to, but I will this weekend. Running game strong with Martin. It looks like Bear Bachmeier's playing well, and their defense hasn't given up too many points. And here we are, Alamo Bowl rematch, and they could really put one on Colorado. But I like all 4 of those teams to stay in the mix here. And you know who's got a big one on Friday night? And I can't wait for this one. I'm picking TCU against Arizona State. Tell me I got a shot there. I get the risk going out to Tempe, but I like this TCU team. I like their defense, and I trust Josh Hoover in this game.
Yeah, we're both pretty high.
100% with you.
We're both pretty high on Sonny Dykes turning things back around. One, because Josh Hoover we saw him as a freshman come in, and you're like, this guy's got some talent. Now he's got all sorts of veteran experience, and TCU's that team. I think for us, I'm not going to totally speak for JJ, but I think I put him as the dark horse winner of the Big 12. And when we were talking about this, we have all these conversations all the time, and we convince ourselves about teams. And TCU looks like one of those teams that could absolutely be right back where they were a couple of years ago. Not necessarily in the national championship game, but certainly better than the team that they were the year directly after. And people forget that they won 9 games last year. And I don't think Arizona State is as strong this year. They're still pretty darn good.
They were lucky to get out of Baylor with the dub.
100%. So I think that's not a bad pick. I think both JJ and I have TCU pretty high on the list. And again, could it take a totally weird turn? Sure, because I don't know what to expect every week in this Big 12. But I do know that Sonny Dykes calls a really, really good offense, and I think they're going to be pretty tough to beat the rest of the year for anybody.
Yeah, they closed last year on a high note and got that momentum going. And when I was trying to do the math of what I watched when they played North Carolina, how much of this is, it's just take Belichick off the sideline and North Carolina is just not nearly as good as them versus, hey, they beat North Carolina, they beat SMU. SMU was a playoff team. Sonny knows how to call a good game, and it's going to be a fun one on Friday night. Friday night's a rare treat. We have 2 ranked teams playing, Arizona State, TCU in one of those games, Florida State, Virginia, and this Florida State team's nasty. They're nasty with Castellanos. They're kind of on I don't know what you call a tour of it's not a redemption tour. It's just, hey, we're good again tour, and that's kind of what they're doing right now.
As you watch kind of the landscape take a little bit more of a look, and we kind of actually start to find out what teams are. When do we actually really find out who the teams are? Because it seems like in the past we used to say, 6 weeks in, you kind of know who's who. It almost feels like we won't even know 6 or 8 weeks in. Even when those first college football playoff rankings come out, I feel like we're all still going to be looking at each other going, we're going to see a ton of movement here, maybe the most we've ever seen.
So we do that playoff bracketology at Sporting News every week. And I kind of chuckle at it. I look at it like, I always compare it to, and I'll be doing bowl projections soon, and those are another mystery in themselves. But especially when you do them all season, then 2 Big 12 teams play each other in a bowl game. But you're exactly right. I think we've moved 3 teams in and 3 teams out. I did anticipate that we would bump Indiana up a great deal. If I was looking at the playoff field, I think if Notre Dame can't wiggle back in, then we're going to have 4 SEC teams, 4 Big Ten teams. Big 12, as of now, is a one-bid league. I suppose that could change if there's some more Big Ten cannibalization, ACC. And then that American Conference race is going to be great because we've literally switched that from South Florida to Tulane to now Memphis, who beat Arkansas. So one of the advantages of the 12-team playoff era, and we saw that in the Big 12 last year, is that the playoff race in November is as captivating as anything.
As you look at kind of who could be those teams, if there is a second team in the Big 12, and you had to guess between who's left after Texas Tech, because I know you guys have Texas Tech, is that other team in there for the Big 12, or the only team right now in you guys' bracket? Where does it come from then? If you were to guess today, of all the teams you see, because it seems like there's 4 or 5 in there that we're trying to guess on still too.
Well, I think it's Iowa State, but here's how indecisive I can be. They play Arizona Saturday in Ames, and that's like, I think it's a primetime game. Don't you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like one of those candidates for a game that could get wild. Like, would you be at all surprised if you're sitting there Saturday night and you're flipping between Georgia, Alabama, and Penn State? I'll be at Penn State, Oregon on Saturday. And then all of a sudden you're like, what is going on in Ames? It feels like one of those weekends where it can get really wild with Arizona. But that conference has, if I was picking the second team right now, I would say Iowa State. I like their defense. I like Rocco Beck's experience. But the more if TCU goes into Arizona State and wins on Friday night, I would probably say them.
I'm looking at your Week 5 predictions against the spread for those of you, for entertainment purposes only. If you want to go check out Bill Bender's writing. If you want to check out what Bill wrote on the Sporting News, sportingnews.com, go check this out. It's just interesting as a sports fan to see some of your picks. And I come down here and we see a Utah State versus Vanderbilt prediction. Obviously, you're not picking the Aggies to win it, but you pick them to cover the spread. The Aggies seem to be pretty good at that this year.
Yeah, that's what I watched. They're kind of one of those, if you're into that thing, kind of a lovable team right now because they're getting that done. Bronco Bryson Barnes, high touchdown total. If they're able to run the ball a little bit, I was wrong about Vanderbilt last week. I thought Georgia State might hang around and, kind of zeroing in on Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech as these teams that are getting a ton of attention because they're playing well, but they're not like Georgia Tech, for example. They're not a put 60 points on the board type team. Apparently Vanderbilt's would put 70 on the board type team. So, but I do think the Aggies will hang around a little bit. And, Bronco's a good coach. He's done a nice job in his previous stops. I've had a couple opportunities to talk to him over the years. Very, cerebral, educational type guy. And they're clearly getting the message there.
Bill Bender, he writes for Sporting News. You can go check out his byline there. They have that. They have the bracket that they have predicted in Week 5. But again, you already kind of chuckle at it, Bill, because it's just so hard to figure out. Not just 5 weeks in. I mean, heaven forbid that we're going to be wondering about it and scratching our heads probably in Week 10 and in Week 11, and then by the very end, we're going to be arguing about what third and fourth SEC and Big Ten teams should be getting in versus how many other teams from all these other conferences. So we'll keep our eye on that one. And as usual, we appreciate you being on the program here with us, man. Thanks again, Bill, for joining us.
Oh, anytime. This was a lot of fun. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great week.
There you go.
Good.
Bill Bender. It's the good thing about Bill is, and I think it happens with a lot of the national news folks where we go, okay, how do you see it out there? And it's like, look, it's hard to ignore. And by the way, this happened, I think, for a lot of people this weekend. They're like, I watched that Texas Tech-Utah game. And then they say it like, aren't you proud of me? It's because you don't see these teams highlighted that often, the time of day that they were. And that's why it was such a massive letdown for Utah fans, because of when you saw that game and why people were watching it. And when they tuned in and saw 34-10 and they wrote Utah off in their minds, might end up being a good thing for Utah, but at the same time, it's not good for the brand of, hey, they don't lose like this at home, because they don't. But it happened to happen in front of a lot of eyeballs. You were talking about, did we ever find out the ratings? Did you ever look at the numbers?
They haven't come out yet for Saturday, but on average, the Fox Big Noon kickoff game usually gets between 4 and 5 million viewers. Mm-hmm. So that was a massive opportunity for Utah, and we know what happened. It stinks, and they're going to have to figure some things out and come to grips with what happened on Saturday.
Yep.
And dig themselves out of this hole that they're in. It's not just it's one loss, okay? But does that loss linger, or did it expose some weaknesses with this team that they may not be able to fix this season? I don't know. We'll find out. But nobody can be happy with the way they performed.
No.
I don't care if it was 13-10 in the going to the fourth quarter. You lost 34-10 on your home field. The final score matters. And they didn't finish, and they didn't play well at the end of the game. They didn't play well on offense at all. It's going to be tough for them to bounce back from that mentally. How does that team respond? We're going to learn a lot about Utah in the coming weeks, because that's going to be a really tough one mentally to get over.
It is funny to see. I've never seen the national pundits this head-scratching at this point of the year.
We all are.
And I wonder if, and I don't, but like I said, it's a weird mix, because on the one hand, I don't hate it.
No, not at all.
On the other hand, I'm kind of like, man, college football is really hard to figure out. It's really hard to figure out. And the good news is that the rhyme or reason of how it happens, it's actually a pretty straight, direct line to success on how this works. And teams that used to not have a shot now. So that, at the very least, not just like the turbulence of Luke Fickell. There's no way he's going to be able to stay at Wisconsin this much longer if he's going to continue to do this.
Right.
Which is crazy, because you know what's going to happen. Scott Satterfield's going to get fired at Cincinnati, and Luke Fickell's going to come back and go, "I'm back, everybody." Then you're going to have Rich Rod, Luke Fickell, and Scott Frost all in the Big 12 again, all at one time at their old programs. I say in the Big 12 again. I don't think, Luke Fickell was never there, but come back to a Cincinnati program that's going to adore you because you went to the college football playoff with those guys. That matters, and guys will try to stay relevant as however they can.
Yeah.
And that'll be an interesting thing to look at.
To your point, I'm looking at a top 25 right now. If I can get this stupid thing to get off my screen that was covering it up. There I go. Look at the top 25. And I got caught in a pop-up ad here. Sorry about that. Indiana is number 11 in the country. When was Indiana ever good?
Yeah.
Vanderbilt is in the top 25.
Yep.
Georgia Tech hasn't been good since the early 90s. At this level, they're ranked 16th.
Yeah. I mean, Texas,
Iowa State is
obviously Texas Tech.
Texas
that's in
Tech
that
is a
conversation.
big one.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the halves are still up there. Ohio State, Miami, Penn State, LSU, Georgia, Oregon, Oklahoma. Even I'll throw Florida State in there and Texas A&M and Texas. But then there's these teams at the bottom. You're like, they never would have been able to compete at this level, and here they are. It's an awesome, exciting time to have some new, fresh blood in college football making an impact and being seen and being big. It's cool. And we might see some others that jump in there. So it's not, you're seeing Clemson struggle. You're seeing the teams you mentioned struggle. Good. I want to see something new. I want to see something exciting. I want to see something unpredictable. I like the current state of college football. It's fun.
I do think it's funny, too, that the coaches are, like, looking around. Guys like Dabo Swinney who are like, I don't know. I have no answers for you. I don't know why we're bad right now. It's like, I think you just don't want to admit the fact that you didn't really bust your tail like everybody else.
You're just behind.
You're doing all this stuff. You're studying the film. Great. You're going after it when it comes to, sitting down with kids. I think they make a tremendous effort. They obviously spend a ton of money on recruiting too, but they got to refocus. Got to refocus here, and that's what they're probably saying in these call-in shows, right? At the at these other places. I guarantee. Can you imagine? Because that's what they do. They have these call-in shows at these southern schools, and they are having to figure it out. And it's not a fun one to try to figure out. And they don't really have the answer. And I don't think anybody does. Except for just to say, hey, you've got to raise some more money here, man.
It's really what it is.
You've got to figure this thing out.
It's an arms race, man. Sorry. It just is. If you want to play, you got to pay.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break here before when we do, we've got ourselves an NFL Blitz around the corner. You don't want to miss any of it, so stay right here. More to go. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is our Colts, this is our team, we bleed blue. This is our Colts, whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Titans, hey, Cam Ward, woo! This is our team, go Colts, yay!
In true fashion, they did make Cam Ward. Whatever.
It's an A.
No, but make Cam Ward? Like, it was the last part where, okay, hold on. I'm sorry to kill the music again. I just need to know what he said. He said, because he usually goes, beat the, fill in the blank. In this case, it was the, beat the Titans. You're going to make Cam Ward. Huh. Okay, I want to hear what he said.
This is our
Okay,
Colts,
we got it.
This is our team,
What do you bleed?
we bleed blue.
Okay, understandable.
This is our Colts, whether win or lose.
They're winning a lot.
We love them. For the shoe.
Here it is.
Beat the Titans. Hey, Cam Ward. Woo! This is our team. Go Colts.
Oh, he's saying who?
No, he's
Cam Ward, who?
Make Cam Ward, who? Number 1 overall draft pick. Come on, kid.
Hey, the Colts are 3-0. Indiana Jones is a thing.
Oh, of course. How long was it going to take? We finally did it.
I can't believe Daniel Jones is good. We were so wrong. And I love stories about like this where an NFL player, especially a quarterback, everyone thinks he sucks, he's no good, he's a bust. And all of a sudden you put him in the right situation with the right coach and the right organization, and it all comes together.
Yeah.
Like Alex Smith experienced that when finally he went to Kansas City. It's like, you know what? The dude is legit. He's a great quarterback. He just needed the right coach and the right system and the right surroundings. Like, you go play for the Las Vegas Raiders and see how good you do as a quarterback. That's why I worry about Cam Ward. Is that a great situation with Tennessee? I don't know. I don't think so.
So, Daniel Jones has 820 yards passing through 3 games.
Wow.
That's good enough for third in the league right now, just where you had him.
Right.
72% completion percentage. QBR is 94.1. Not bad. But the bigger deal is that if he were to keep this pace, he would throw for 4,700 yards by the end of the year. That's where we're at with Daniel Jones right now. Okay. Who is the bigger shock then for a turnaround? Would it be last year and Sam Darnold with the Vikings, or Daniel Jones going to the Indianapolis Colts this year after being asked to play defensive back as they waited to offload him? Because in my mind, because Sam Darnold was on his third or fourth team or whatever, and he was seeing ghosts, and he was. Do you know
who
guy
else
was
also
a
did
big
this?
wash?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield has had the most consistent, like, his feels like it's staying right now. The staying power of him is a lot more, I feel like.
Oh, for
Daniel Jones, the rug could get pulled out from under you at any time. I still don't know if I believe it in Seattle with Sam Darnold, but Daniel Jones right now is doing something that I didn't even notice this. Daniel Jones and Riley Leonard, talk about a weird combo of former Duke quarterbacks playing quarterback for you.
Right.
I guess Riley Leonard could go, no, I'm a Notre Dame guy. Yeah, right. Okay.
Do you know who's 11th in the NFL in QBR right now?
Hold on. 11th.
Another similar story, potentially, to the ones we're talking about. A quarterback that's finally getting a chance in a great system and a great organization.
Caleb Williams, great organization, great system.
Mac Jones is 11th in the NFL in QBR right now. Mac Jones for the 49ers. I don't know how much longer he's going to get a chance to play, but he's ahead of Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix Jr.,
Brock Purdy,
Aaron Rodgers. Brock Purdy's not on this list. He hasn't played enough.
Of course.
But how cool is that? I mean, like, sometimes it's, and you know, Sly will always tell you about this, somebody who played in the league. It's not about where you're drafted, it's where you go to.
It's about
what organization
yes.
do you join? You can be an undrafted free agent, and if you join the right organization, you can be more successful than if you're a first-round draft pick.
The timing matters, doesn't it? I mean,
really does.
Daniel Jones, because now we look at it and we go, oh man, you are so lucky to get out of New York. At the time when it was happening, it was, this is the most devastating thing that could happen to a young person. He gets this massive contract and then immediately is bad. Like, it felt like immediately. Now everybody in Indianapolis is high-fiving him in the locker room and be like, dude, do you miss New York? He's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because you got Russell Wilson there now, and all everybody's doing is Jackson Dart watch. Everything that happened on the sideline, they kept, the poor NBC cameras were like, all right, camera 7, take 7. The camera 7 was just dedicated to Jackson Dart. He's over on the sideline, and he's just sitting there. Napolis, our producer, what did you say? Well, he's starting in 2 weeks, right? I hope not. I really hope not. But Brian Daboll is going to get desperate.
Yeah, he's in trouble.
There's like that 6'7" referee in the league, and Brian Daboll is standing next to him last night. And I went, that poor guy. I think he's 5'5" and a quarter. I think the Jay Glazer of NFL coaches out there. You're like, dude, you do not need to. Come on, don't puff your chest out that much. Come on, settle down. 41-20, by the way, the Colts beat the Titans yesterday. Wow. They're like steamrolling teams. They're winning. They're steamrolling teams with an absolute, this was the worst quarterback room in the league by far before the season started. And yet here we are.
You never know. Give Shane Steichen some credit.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Cam Ward, by the way, awful pick 6 that he threw. He's not looking like the guy.
You just hope he doesn't get ruined.
It's exactly what the organization didn't want for him, and it's exactly what's happening to him. It's just the worst thing you want. You don't want it. All right, let me see here. Sorry, we spent a lot of time on the Colts.
It's a great story.
Hot Colts takes coming up next.
This is our Colts. This is our team.
I guess
We
anything. I
bleed
guess
blue.
anything to take the attention off of your other horse team that you love so much.
You're right.
Your second favorite horse team in the league. Hey,
2 straight weeks losing on last-second field goals. Brutal. Just gut punch after gut punch. Can't finish drives.
Yeah, but Justin Herbert's a legit. I mean, talking about a guy who's good, man.
I know.
But he has nobody. He has like no one. He throws to Keenan
Imagine
Allen.
if he had Justin Jefferson or
I
somebody
know.
like that.
He throws to Keenan Allen, and then after that, you're like, and then who else? Anybody else? Nope.
Quentin
Okay.
Johnston?
I know. No. It's like, where's Keenan Allen? Same way that feels like Puka Nacua gets treated. By the way, former BYU wideout Puka Nacua, 11 catches for 112 yards yesterday in their loss against the Eagles. I turned that game off. I thought it was an automatic win. Annapolis, what happened? Just kidding. I watched it till the end. I watched the full meltdown.
So did I.
Oh, but Puka.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Nothing worse than the Eagles getting bailed out, and then us having to be told that Nick Sirianni's a genius coach. 11 catches for Puka, though, 112 yards. He leads the league currently in receptions and yards, so he continues to be on an insane tear. Let me see here. What else could we do from the locals who did a phenomenal job
Several.
over the
Dalton
weekend?
Kincaid had a big, we already talked about that last Thursday, and him and Jackson Haas from Highland High School had a touchdown catch on Thursday Night Football. Bobby Wagner in his 14th season, 2 sacks on Sunday. Fred Warner was awesome. 11 total tackles, a couple pass breakups. The Ellis brothers, Caden Ellis, 9 tackles.
Bro, your guy
the,
Jonah
Falcons.
Ellis is doing phenomenally, by the way.
He got a little peanut on special teams for the Broncos on Sunday. So, yeah, a lot of good local guys doing big things. Every week, just guys from here make plays, and it's fun to watch.
Nick Bosa looks like he's torn his ACL.
Yeah, bummer.
Bad news, because I saw immediately, like, after the game, this is why you got to just keep your mouth shut. Kyle Shanahan goes, yeah, it looks like we avoided the ACL, though.
Oof.
Then the MRI comes back, and they go, it's the ACL.
They couldn't see it in all that muscle.
Right, and for the second time in his career, an ACL is going to take him out for the season. That's heartbreaking. CeeDee Lamb, his ankle bent a very bad direction, the one that you don't want to have, the direction you don't want it to bend. He's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. Could be worse, I guess.
The Cowboys are a 62-yard field goal away from being 0-3.
Ooh. Yeah, you're right. Brandon Aubrey bailed him out, man, in that week 2 win against a very, very tough Giants team. The Browns get the win over the Packers. That was the biggest upset of the weekend. I was absolutely shocked, but it shouldn't be that big of a shock when you know that this is exactly what happens to the NFL week after week. This is why it's the best, because the Browns can beat the Packers, and everybody wanted to put the Packers already in the Super Bowl. Now, they might end up there, but Jordan Love had a bad fourth quarter. Speaking of locals in the NFL. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back. We got more to go around the corner. We have our best and worst. Every Wednesday, by the way, is a Win Ticket Wednesday. You can win tickets this week on our Wednesday to Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace live at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater coming September 27th. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com, or you can listen all day long to the KSL Sports Zone on our Win Ticket Wednesday to win them. We'll come back. Best and worst next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Final segment of the hour here. And music, of course, means best and worst. Best and worst brought to you by your Doug Smith dealerships, Dodge, Ram, Chevy, Kia, Subaru, and now Mitsubishi. In Linden, American Fork, and in Spanish Fork. So there you go. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Best, got a couple of them. We always try to sneak in a few of them. You saw Utah State finally made a hire for their athletic director position. I actually heard Bronco Mendenhall on DJ and Pika today talking about Cameron Walker, who's now the university vice president and director of athletics. Young guy, comes out of Tennessee. Now, born in Idaho, I think he was at Rick's as like a baseball player or something like that, and then his wife is from Heber, so they have like.
He worked at UVU.
You worked at UVU
in
for
compliance in Title IX.
Yeah, so there's a guy who knows, and again, working at in the statement that he made, as they made the announcement, he thanked the University of Tennessee, where he learned a lot there. Of course, if you're at a place like that, it's a high level of learning how to run an athletic department, and I think that's what they're going to be leaning on. Bronco mentioned too. They go, like, a smart guy, legal background, like a law background, and which is, of course, you got to have that. And the university is already trying to wade through some of its more dark times over the past few years,
right.
and this is a good way to, I think, get it started. And somebody who could potentially be here a long, long time.
He checks all the boxes.
Yep.
It's a great hire.
So
at
I'm
least
glad
as
for
of
the
right
Aggies.
now, it seems like a great hire.
All right.
Fit.
In the meantime, also on the best. Virginia Tech is proposing a $230 million investment into athletics over the next 4 years.
Proposing? Or announcing? What does it mean to propose? We'd like everybody to give us $229 million.
Will you take $230 million and be my athletic department? Yes. Now, what does that look like? $229 million. How far does that go? I mean, if like you're rebuilding a stadium, not very far. But if you're pouring it into other parts of the departments, and they're trying to find a head coach now at Virginia Tech after they laid off their coach after week 2.
Man, they have fallen a long way since the days of Frank Beamer and Michael Vick.
Frank Beamer, it was kind of nice. That Virginia Tech South Carolina game was a nice kind of start to the season. It was a tough fought game, and they ended up losing by the end, and then they ended up losing every other week after that. It seemed like they're kind of just going the wrong direction. So, yeah, we'll see how the Hokies can figure it out. Did you put that in there for Jake Scott? Hey, Jake, your guys are putting money in. The Hokies are putting money into the program. Weirdest team to cheer for in the history of mankind. All right. The worst is Fred VanVleet apparently tore his ACL, might miss the entire NBA season. This is a Rockets team who does not need old guys to go down with knee injuries. I guess Fred's not that old, but they have an old guy on their roster now who they brought in specifically to turn everything around. You don't have a lot of time. When Kevin Durant is on your roster, you've got to make hay, man, and Fred VanVleet being off of that roster is a huge hit for that team.
Oh, it's massive. Yeah, they're going to miss him. That's a young team that won a lot of games last year because they had a veteran like Fred VanVleet on the roster. Without him there, that changes that dynamic quite a bit.
Kevin Durant doesn't do
it's a big setback for them.
Kevin Durant doesn't do the veteran leadership thing like a guy like Fred VanVleet does.
And hurts him on the perimeter. That guy could knock down big shot after big shot from the three-point line. So big loss for the Rockets.
In a weird twist, UCF assistant and former Appalachian head coach Sean Clark, he was sent to the hospital with a medical emergency a few weeks ago. Stable condition, and then suddenly died last night.
Wild story.
50 years old.
Awful.
And that's tough. UCF is in the midst of a new season with Coach Frost. And you remember when Jay Hill had that heart attack last year before one of the games, and it just absolutely rippled through, and you went, oh, football's not that important.
Yeah.
And this is one of those moments. So I'm sad for those kids. I'm sad for his family. He's got 2 young kids and 50 years old. Like, JJ, we're right there.
Yes,
so having this type of thing happen, you look at it and you go, life is precious, man. All right, we'll take the break here. We got more to go around the corner, so you don't want to miss any of it. Stay tuned in right here. Stay dialed in, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.